In every ecosystem, living things are linked by the food they eat and the energy they get from the food. These links taken together make up the food web. Food chains within these webs often involve predator and prey relationships. The grasslands of Serengeti National Park in Tanzania are home to a great diversity of animals, each dependent on the next for survival. Here, where the climate is dry and the soil is poor, grass collects energy from the sun and kicks off each food chain. Plant eaters like these gazelles feed on the grass, and in doing so, they help even more grass grow back in its place. The large number of plant-eating animals found in the Serengeti provides food for many predators. Each predator has its own techniques for hunting prey. Reaching speeds of more than 60 miles per hour, cheetahs are fast enough to run down gazelles. Lions aren't so fast and tend to sneak up on their prey with little warning.
In every ecosystem are two types of organisms, producers and consumers. The producers, called autotrophs, produce their own food. Photosynthesizing plants and some microorganisms are autotrophs. Consumers are called heterotrophs. Herbivores eat plants only, and they are primary consumers. Carnivores are secondary consumers. They eat meat and live off primary consumers. The consumers' fungi and bacteria are also called decomposers because they eat dead and decaying organisms. They break down grass, tree trunks, and animal remains so that nutrients return to the soil. The producers, consumers, secondary consumers, and decomposers make up an interdependent community within an ecosystem. One way they interrelate is through the food web. The food web has many overlapping food chains of producers and consumers. For example, on the African plain, producers such as grass grow in abundance. Herbivores, such as antelope, eat the grass. Carnivores, such as lions, kill and eat part of the antelope. Jackals eat other parts of the remains. Worms, ants, and bacteria consume what is left. Since most species eat and are eaten by more than one other species, food chains link together in a food web. And changes affecting one group ultimately affect several others. Food chains exist in all ecosystems.
So a food chain is just another way to show the energy relationships in an ecosystem. In a food chain, we have the sun, which delivers energy in the form of photons to plants, which are consumed by primary consumers, like this grasshopper. The grasshopper is then consumed by a secondary consumer, which would be the black widow that we're showing here. The black widow is consumed by this mouse, and the mouse in turn is consumed by the coyote. When we get up to this level, we're at a quaternary consumer. The coyote would be a quaternary consumer. So a food chain is the simplest example of an energy relationships in an ecosystem. A food web tries to be a little bit more specific and tries to show the energy relationships in an ecosystem in a more accurate way. However, this is a very, very simplistic way of showing energy relationships too, because as you can see, there's no worms, no decomposers, and these relationships are extremely complex. So even a food web is just a simple way of showing energy relationships in an ecosystem. So what happens when an organism is removed from a food chain? Let's say a developer comes into our neighborhood and decides to build houses and take away the coyote's habitat. So we're going to remove the coyote completely from this food chain. What would happen to the rest of the organisms? What would happen to the mouse population, the spider population, the grasshopper population, and the plant population? Let's go ahead and take the coyote out. And what happens to the mouse population? The mouse population would increase because the coyotes aren't there to eat the mice. If the mouse population increases, they're going to affect the spider population. The spider population is probably going to go down because there are too many mice eating all of the spiders. So as that happens, that's going to negatively affect the mouse population. When the spiders are gone, the grasshopper population is going to get out of control. And this is often what happens when we have infestations of insects. The predators of these insects are taken out of the ecosystems with poisons or in some other way, and the pest insects become really, really populous because the predators aren't there to control them. So as the grasshopper population goes up, they're going to, of course, have a negative effect on the plant population. So the plant population is going to go down, and the grasshopper population is going to go way down. It's going to crash. So let's remove the spider from this food chain, and what do you think is going to happen to the rest of the organisms in the food chain? So we take the spider out. What's going to happen to the mouse population? The mouse population is probably going to go down, as well as the coyote population, if this were, the only thing that they were dependent on eating. And if the spider population went down, the grasshopper population would go up, and the plant population would go down. Of course, it's a lot more complicated than that, but the take-home message here is each link in this food chain is important. And if you take one organism out, or if you disrupt the population of one organism, you're going to affect all the other organisms in the food chain.
Well, take a look at my plate, it's a sight, cause it's piled with food while I'm looking it over, and it looks so good, cause I got milk, I got meat, I got pasta and bread, I got chicken and egg rolls, and processed cheese spread, I got ice cream, I got whipped cream, I got tacos, I got fish, but none of it seems like a vegetable dish. But the truth of the matter of this food situation is that all of these things get their start with vegetation.
It's the food web. It's the food web.
You see, meat has to eat, and noodles need wheat. Yeah, we need plants for the things that we eat, cause sugar needs cane, and honey needs bees that get pollen from the flowers in the fields and the trees. But maybe now you're asking, hey, what's a plant need? They gotta come from something, yeah, you know they gotta feed. Well, a plant needs water, and a plant needs sun, dirt, carbon dioxide, and oxygen.